167th Contact. Saturday, March 13, 1982, 3:17 p.m. Billy says, I'm glad that I don't have to go outside in the rain. It is sooner April showers than it is March weather. Quetzal says, indeed, it is very unpleasant. Billy says, I'll be happy when it is finally spring again. Quetzal says, here, the climate gives you difficulties, like the other seasons. Billy says, that's true, but it isn't the others for the time being. Tell me, what do you think of the German super magician Köhnlechner? About an hour ago, I read a long article in the magazine Star about this crazy, one-up great man, who pretends to be a healer and a super physician. Are you at all familiar with this man? Quetzal says, we've already observed him for a long time, and it's unfortunate that we had to find out that hundreds of Earth people are enslaved to this meddler. In truth, he has been the most unscrupulous and most unprincipled man in this area for a long time, who, without adequate or even existing knowledge of remedies and medicine, etc., drives hundreds of Earth people into delusion and illness or even into mutilation and death. Exactly said, he is the largest meddling operator and profiteer in this area since Master Edward Alexander Crowley, who not only pretended to be a mystical teacher and the greatest magician, but who was also on the rampage as a common remedial doctor, just like this more sound Köhnlechner, who undeservedly adorns himself with a Ph.D. and pretends to be a healer because he attended a brief crash course on this art. However, he learned nothing. So to this very day, he is still missing any reasonable or authoritative knowledge in the area of remedies, those based on a medical nature and on a natural basis. But he isn't just an unscrupulous and unprincipled man in these and all related matters, but he is also a crazy visionary who is addicted to and greedy for success, who even passes over corpses if he can win a penny through it. All his words of helpfulness and brotherly love are only empty phrases built on meddling and profit, which have no iota of truth. He is a man of complete life unfitness and imbalance, and another like him among Earth people can't be found so quickly. On top of all these evils, he still suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and from so large a stupidity and incomprehension towards any logic, such that he constantly revokes his own false diagnoses and therapeutic orders, which unfortunately goes unnoticed by those who are enslaved to him, which is why he isn't sued for damages. Also, all his assertions are built on rough falsehoods which purport that he has learned medicine as a healer, because in relation to this, he has truly acquired no significant knowledge in this crash course. Neither has he learned the art of acupuncture in China, as he claims, nor does he actually know how to cure any diseases. But wherever healings have appeared, these were the self-healings of the misguided and stupefied believers who are enslaved to him. In truth, his whole mind is only greedily aimed towards personal profit, having a great name and success, without even the slightest mind towards helping others. In truth, he is a profiteer who belongs to those who are separated and banished by society because his actions and his often degenerated thoughts toward fulfilling his greedy and wishful illusions bring vast and incalculable grief, misery, and hardship for hundreds of people. And in addition, what still appears as a special form of evil is that many newspapers and magazines, in their own profiteering, cooperate criminally with him, as well as the radio and television, by supporting his criminal machinations through articles and speeches, etc. that are helpful to him, because through this, they themselves earn many millions. The right place for this man would be a secured lunatic asylum, where he, restricted in a straitjacket, would even be separated from true lunatics because he could even seek after his greedy addictions toward success and profit with those, not to mention all those idiots who are still, more or less, strong of mind. Billy says, man, you just aren't one to speak well of this guy. Nevertheless, he operates in the so-called better circles with public figures, with actors, singers, politicians, and television stars, etc. Quetzal says, but that changes nothing with regard to the effective truth that he is a ruthless profiteer with a certain part of the people. the ones enslaved to him, however, still seem to be more stupid than he is, because in his stupidity and primitiveness, he is still rather clever in terms of making others fall to ruin and become enslaved to him. Billy says there, you could be right. By the way, I also can't stand this guy, because what I had noticed on the television, when he was subsequently questioned throughout the program, was enough for me. The boundless stupidity and primitiveness of this demon-like creature goes so far that it made me sick, and I had to turn off the TV. Quetzal says in that, you did well. Billy says let's talk no more of him. The day before yesterday, I asked you to find out why Anatole and Miriam no longer announced themselves to me, as they promised me this. I still expected all kinds of material from them. Quetzal says concerning this, I must, unfortunately, give you a message that won't be pleasant for you. My investigations were rather troublesome, but I found out that the mission linked to these two people was destroyed. During the month of November of last year, the two decided that they'd go to Italy in December together in order to visit common acquaintances there. Then, on December 7, 1981, they also carried out this decision, got on Anatole's road vehicle, and drove off. Billy says once again, you make this damn long. Did the two of them cause an accident, and they are, therefore, now in the hospital? Quetzal says you're illogical. Billy says then oh yes, you said that their mission was destroyed, so it can only mean that the two of them didn't survive the accident? Quetzal says it was an accident, yes. Billy says you, otherwise, aren't squeamish, if you want to explain something to me. Why this now? Quetzal says you knew the two personally and included them in your love. Billy says so, nevertheless yes, that's true, yes. Quetzal says it's just me. Billy says just let it. This also will pass, it will just take a few minutes. Quetzal says but then, the thoughts of this break towards you. Billy says damn, so this, then, is my beer, right? Quetzal says then no, you are peculiar in such matters. It's in your nature, however. Billy says I am, son, but now tell me, when does Semyaza actually return again? Quetzal says who? Oh, I see, as the facts are currently given, it will be around the 15th of July. Billy says well, what you have is still special, because I still have all kinds of work to do today. I must finish another Aquarius booklet, then the introduction for the Book of Names, because concerning this, it irritates me a little, and then, I must finally wedge myself behind the next 4 spirit teaching letters that have to go out on the 15th of April, concerning which I haven't typed a single letter yet. Quetzal says actually. Billy says good, then still another question, why, actually, did you first have to find out what happened with Miriam and Anatole? Quetzal says you know, nevertheless, that we neither maintained any duties of control nor contacts, regarding the two of them and their mission, because it was run through the Shren group and one of our other commands. You also know that, for reasons of neutrality and non-influence, we work independently and without the exchange of data. Therefore, we also maintain no exchange of information with our own sister stations. All contacts are only of a purely personal nature, and no data, etc., is ever exchanged among one another. All data of ours and also that of other groups working with us are separately and directly sent to a central office on Error, where they are evaluated by coordination, and then the appropriate decisions are made. We strictly adhere to this so that we can carry on our work correctly and without influence. This is a fact that the Earth people can hardly understand, which brings us a lot of advantages, however. Billy says well, that's clear to me. Any more, I don't want to know. Quetzal says I can still inform you that the accident happened only a few hundred meters away from Anatole's residence and that the end came immediately. Also, you should know that the two still wanted to visit you in December on the trip home from Italy. Billy says that is enough already, my friend. Yes, Anatole had promised that he would visit me before the end of the year. but I only ever saw him once and Miriam only 3 times. But please, let's talk no more of this now. If it's right to you, then I would now like to conclude our conversation for today. Moreover, the boy could also wake up again as a result of our discussion. Quetzal says I understand, and Atlant is really very dear, as he sleeps there in his vehicle. Billy says it just surprises me that you are not afraid, when otherwise you always react so sensitively. Quetzal says you're illogical, because you know very well that sleeping people and, above all, children of this age, cause us little or no risk. But now, until we meet again, my friend. Billy says don't be so damn solemn, it's really not necessary, my nerves aren't so damn broken anymore as they were before. Greet the others for me. The end. Eternal profiteer in this area since Master Edward Alexander Crowley, who not only pretended to be a mystical teacher and the greatest magician, but who was also on the rampage as a common remedial doctor, just like this more sound Köhnlechner, who undeservedly adorns himself with a Ph.D. and pretending article in the magazine Star about this crazy, one-up great man, who pretends to be a healer and a superphysician. Are you at all familiar with this man? Quetzal says we've already observed him for a long time, and it's unfortunate that we had to find out that hundreds of Earth people are enslaved to this meddler. 167th Contact. Saturday, March 13, 1982, 3:17 p.m. Billy says I'm glad that I don't have to go outside in the rain. It is sooner April showers than it is March weather. Quetzal says indeed, it is very unpleasant. But in truth, he has been the most unscrupulous and most unprincipled man in this area for a long time, who, without adequate or even existing knowledge of remedies and medicine, etc., drives hundreds of Earth people into delusion and illness or even into mutilation and death. Exactly said, he is the largest meddling operator. He says I'll be happy when it is finally spring again. Quetzal says here, the climate gives you difficulties, like the other seasons. Billy says that's true, but it isn't the others for the time being. Tell me, what do you think of the German super magician Köhnlechner? About an hour ago, I read along